On Smallville, Clark's secret was stressful for him and everyone around him. His parents really couldn't enjoy life because they were constantly thinking about hiding Clark's powers from the world. Then once his friends found out his secret, the stress started spreading to them as well. I want to talk about how just knowing Clark's secret changes your whole life. But before that, a message from me. So a few years ago, I did a thing. I wrote a novel titled The Fairy Princess Enter into Fin Time. You can see the fairy princess here on my t-shirt. The book is about a young girl from the south side of Chicago who discovers she's a fairy princess. Her godmother is kidnapped and she must learn how to use her powers while trying to save her. The book is available on Amazon and Rakuten Kobo. T-shirts and other merch are available on my website, thefairyprincess.net. Links are in the description. First of all, Clark's secret was kept from everyone else in their family. Martha's father was still alive, but they did not have a relationship with him because they wanted to keep Clark's powers a secret from him. So Clark had no family outside of his mother and father. The first person outside of the family to learn Clark's secret was Pete, Clark's best friend. He already had a sort of sibling rivalry relationship with Clark. They competed in everything. Then he learned that Clark was just naturally better in everything. So he turned to doing really dangerous things to feel better about himself. Of course, he got in over his head and Clark had to come to his rescue by stealing Lex's car and basically killing Pete's competition. Eventually, Pete got caught up in drama surrounding Clark's secret and got beat the hell up.
You think it's easy keeping a lid on your secret? I've got to think about it every time we're around other people to make sure I don't slip. I got to remember to say meteor rock instead of kryptonite. And I always got to cover your unexplained exits.
So he decided to leave Smallville so he wouldn't be a weak link in Clark's chain. He left town because keeping Clark's secret became too stressful. After Pete left, Chloe replaced him as best friend secret keeper. But for the first season that she knew, she was even keeping it a secret from Clark that she knew a secret because she learned it when Alicia tricked Clark into using his powers in front of Chloe. So she decided to wait until he was ready to come to her and tell her the truth. In the meantime, she would have to help fill in the blanks for him after he had amnesia and didn't know he had powers. During that time, she learned about even more of his powers and learned what his parents must go through just to keep Clark safe. For the rest of the season, Chloe would say cryptic things to Clark just to try to get him to tell her the truth. But Clark kept silent. Finally, at the end of the season, Chloe would help Clark get away from Lex after he had to retrieve the final stone from Lex's vault and there was kryptonite in there. And when Lex dragged her down to the caves where Clark was already reuniting the stones, she kept Lex from seeing what Clark was doing and got caught up when Clark was transported to the location for his Fortress of Solitude. Finally, Clark knew that Chloe knew his secret, and she spent the rest of her time on the show covering up for him and being his sidekick. After a while, being Clark's sidekick became more important to her than being a reporter, her lifelong dream. She was always on the lookout for the next big story. But once she had the biggest story she was ever going to find dropped in her lap by Alicia, it suddenly wasn't as important anymore. By season 8, Clark and Lois worked for the Daily Planet and Chloe had nothing to do with the news. They dealt with her feelings about this change by having her turn into Lois because of some magic hex by Zatanna. She had to deal with the fact that Lois was living her dream life.
One day, I'm on the fast track for my dream career as the intrepid reporter, and then I blink, and all of a sudden I'm this underqualified shrink for meteor-infected kids who will probably wake up to be psycho killers.
And was even becoming closer to her best friend, Clark, because she found out that even though Clark wasn't answering all of her calls, he answered all of Lois.
Some magician showed up at my birthday party in fishnets and hexed me. But you'd know that if you hadn't skipped it to answer voicemails from Lois. Not that I'm dwelling.
She had to come to terms with her feelings in order to turn back into herself. After that, she let her dream of being a reporter go and was basically Watchtower for Clark in the Junior Justice League. She continued her role as Watchtower for the rest of the series until the last season, when she left town to basically protect Clark and Oliver.
I had to find him.
Find who?
Oliver. Someone took him when you were fighting Zod. They threatened to take all of us. So I put on Fate's helmet. Clark, I think Cadmus is burning. You have to go. Bye, Clark.
Oh, and let's not forget, Martha Kent became the Red Queen to protect Clark from Amanda Waller. By the end of the series, there was a whole group of people who knew Clark's secret, and they all had to break rules and laws to protect it. So, would you turn your life upside down just to protect Superman's secret? Let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to know the next time I upload or go live.